All right, here we go. Plays from week 11. And you know what? This is my last college video of the year. I hate to say it, but I'm on the road the final 2 weeks of the regular season. So for me, this is it. But Blandino will do tapes in the next 2 weeks. And it kind of made me think, when I first started out doing this, I was the only one. And now when you look at it, it's Blandino, it's Sterator, it's Macaulay, it's Triplet on the college level, it's Lamagna, Kataya, Blackwood. In the old days, it was just me, and I remember this being done. Watch this with J.B. Smooth.
I'm here at NFL on Fox Labs with rules guru Mike Pereira. This guy knows everything there is to know about rules. But what if Mike gets his head chopped off by an ex-murderer, right? That's why we're taking Mike's head and we've cloned it. We're making a gazillion little baby Mike peas. Wait, what? Your head coming off. Who knows how to rule? Who knows how to rule? Hey, Mike, you gotta teach these babies how to control their functions, man. Okay? This is you throwing up on me.
I guess we needed some Tide to take out that whatever that was that I threw up on my man J.B. Smooth. Don't need to clone me anymore. Geez, you got guys that are better than me now. I probably rank about 8th on the totem pole. But let's look at some plays. We got some plays from Ohio State and Michigan State. One is a first, and we've got a 4th and 1, a quarterback sneak. So you got to get actually just beyond the 35-yard line. No progress was ruled. You get to push. You get to shove. Nothing is ruled. Nothing is ruled. You actually see the runner get beyond the line to gain. So it is a good call. And, obviously, if forward progress is ruled, you can still review that to see where it was. But driving forward like this, quarterback pushing forward, may even get his face mask grabbed there, although nobody's going to see that. But he actually does make the line to gain. Sometimes we have to go back to the line feed just to see it, just to verify that. And to me, when you look at this shot, watch him being pushed forward, forward, forward. He's beyond the line to gain there. That is a first down and a good ruling on the field. Jeff Cervinsky, my guy here. Man, Jeff, I hope you're okay. We're always in the line of fire, at least when he gets hit here by number 1. Hey, at least number 1 went back to pick him up. He didn't mean it. He picked him up, got him back on his feet, and you're going to see he actually takes a pretty good shot here. He's going to take a shot. Watch the replay coming up, and his crewmates are saying, okay, he did actually get checked out after this and then came back in the game. But that's just being in the wrong place at the wrong time. And we certainly hope that Jeff is okay. And like I say, he came back in the game and finished up strong. Interesting play at the goal line. It is a punt play, involved replay. They're going to rule on the field that the kicking team member possessed the ball, and therefore it was down before the ball broke the plane. And replay got involved. My man Dan Caprol with his group here and Brandon Cruz, you can see there that he never got possession. And so that is something that replay can review on whether he got possession or not, and he didn't. So therefore what they did was they saw that the ball actually broke the plane there. So since the ball had broken the plane and he did not get possession prior to that, they actually, in replay, reversed it to a touchback. And again, the point being that replay can review possession if they ruled possession and in this case, change it into a touchback. Part of the fun of this job is, being able to work with Dean. And, we've always talked about when we both ran the officiating department, me many years ago and Dean just till about 3 years ago. But professionalism was always, the word that we used on how we wanted to conduct our own business, how we wanted our officials to conduct our business. And we try to take that professionalism over to our show called Last Call. That's at 1 o'clock, actually Pacific time, Pacific Coast time, Pacific Standard Time. And you can tune in, foxsports.com at 1 o'clock on Mondays, and we break down some of these same plays. Unfortunately, though, every once in a while we hit a blip. And just 2 weeks ago, this was the blip that we hit. This is me to the left, by the way, and it is Blandino to the right. whose Microsoft Surface began to fall off the books that he had it set on, and he quickly got up to catch it. Not really the type of thing that you want on the show. But, folks, that's me on the left, and that is the ever-professional Dean Blandino on the right. Please, let's move on. We're going to get a call here for ineligibles downfield, and you can watch what happens here because it turns out to be a broken play. You're going to see the quarterback leave the pocket. Now he's going to go back in the pocket. Pocket's gone. Then he's going to throw the ball away out of bounds. Yes, there were lots of guys downfield on this, but the crew did pick up the flag, and that is the right thing to do because they threw the ball away. The quarterback threw the ball away out of bounds. And so you can't have a foul by rule in this situation. If you throw it back into the field of play, now you've got an issue. But if you throw it away out of bounds legally, which means that you get it back to the extended line of scrimmage, then you don't have ineligibles downfield. And that was the case here, and they did pick it up. This is a play that I think merits some discussion in the offseason because you got to play now and look at the clock. The clock's going to wind down to 32 seconds, I think, and now the offense is going to call a timeout. Well, there were 4 consecutive timeouts at this point. The offense called a timeout in Michigan State. Then Ohio State called the timeout. Then Ohio State called another timeout. And then after that, Michigan State called another timeout. So you had 4 timeouts in the same dead ball period. And would love to see them go to the NFL rule where you can't take consecutive timeouts and you can only call one timeout during a dead ball period. So you could have the offense called one and the defense called one, and then that would be it. But in the NCAA game, you can call consecutive timeouts. If you haven't called any timeouts and you have 3 left, you can call 3 in a row if you'd like. But I do think it just, extends a game needlessly, and I would love to see them go to the NFL rule, and maybe there will be some discussion about that. TCU and West Virginia, this has to be stopped. Look where the ball is snapped at the 47-yard line. So you get a pass that's ruled incomplete, and there's actually 1 or maybe 2 seconds to go on the clock. So replay has to put timeout back on the clock. Now, I've always said that the referee gets some discretion. What do you use for discretion? Your own 40-yard line. So if you're inside your own 40, then you're not going to put it back on. But if you're beyond your own 40, in this case, the 47-yard line, you have to put time back on the clock and give another play. And of course, we're talking about here in this particular case, the end of the second quarter. Adding timeouts or adding time back on the clock, there are different standards for it or conditions for it at the end of the game. But at the end of the second quarter, score is not an issue. The guideline of the 40-yard line is need to put a second back on the clock and have another play. Same game, opening kickoff of the second half. You're going to get a fair catch signal, and then you're going to get a muff, and then the receiver's going to fall on the ball. Okay, first thing is, if you give a fair catch signal on a kickoff and complete the fair catch, then you get the ball at the 25. It's the same thing as a touchback. If you don't complete the fair catch, you muff the ball and now you recover it, it's on you. The play is dead. You can't recover this ball and take off and run if you did on your feet because you did signal a fair catch, so you gave up your right and everybody else's right to advance on the receiving team. But you don't get the option to have the ball as a touchback on the 25. You have to complete the catch. And in this case, they actually ended up taking 2 seconds off the clock before they did snap it correctly because it was muffed, legally touched in the field of play, so the clock should have been started. And so with the 0-2-0, what is that? That's the official-to-official communication system. They recognize that they should have taken 2 seconds off the clock, and you can see here that that they actually did. You know, and I realize I make this sound like it's so easy, and I know it's not. And I'm thinking about maybe I'd want to go back in the field, but I think I'd look like this, and that's not, and that's probably how I'd look. I hate to say it, but that's probably, of course, there is a time I wouldn't have minded being Ted Danson, the most interesting man in the world at this point. Moving on. Here's another one with an eligible man downfield and a very good call. Another broken play. First pass is backwards. So it's just a lateral. Now you get the pass downfield, caught for a touchdown. Top of the screen, you got guys that are 3 yards or more downfield. So alertly called by the officials to call back a touchdown. Certainly a big call. Ole Miss and Texas A&M, a targeting call on a blindside block, and it certainly is a good call. Just remember that the person who is blindside blocked is defenseless, so you can't go to the head or neck area with your helmet, shoulder, forearm, wrist, and clearly this is a targeting foul because that is the targeting rule when you are defenseless. It's not just leading with the crown of your helmet. It's that protection to the head or neck area, period. Right call as a targeting call and a disqualification. Wisconsin and Penn State, ABA. For you announcers, this is how we talk in officiating. ABA, the offense is A, the defense is B. You always retain your designation of ABA. Here is a play where A starts with the ball, B gets the ball, and then A gets it back. You get a fumble recovery in air, interception if you want to call it, by B. Then they fumble and A gets it back. ABA, that's just it's still, even though that the offense gets the ball back, it's considered a change of possession, a double change of possession. So the clock stops and A gets a first down, even though they didn't reach the line to gain, obviously. But the change of possession starts a brand new series for A. Not the American Bar Association pylon plays. Just to look at it one more time. This is a different pylon play at the goal line on a punt. The ball's going to go out of bounds, airborne over the top of the pylon. Is it a touchback? Is it out at the 1? The official in position there, maybe a little close. I don't know. Looks like it might go out of over his left shoulder, but he rules touchback. Not reviewable. Can't review this unless it hits the sideline or hits the pylon. And you could also see on that play, by the way, that the kicking team member was blocked out of bounds and then came back in and reestablished, but it's not an issue because he didn't touch it. But a ball that is punted that goes out of bounds in the air, it makes no difference if it's from the kick or in the air or if it bounces and then goes out of bounds in the air. That spot on the sideline or at the pylon is not reviewable. This guy, don't hurt my finger. Don't hurt my finger, please. Not a lot of courage on that guy. And the ball starts to fall off the tee. Show some guts, for God's sakes. Hold on to the ball when he's going to kick it. Look at, I love this. Take it. It's fall. Oh, well, you see a lot of different things. DPI call, very good. Not playing the ball. Ball's thrown a little short. Receiver gets the right to go back to get that ball, then try to make the catch. Defender's not playing the ball. So good, solid call. Falls into categories, not playing the ball. And it is catchable, even though it is short, because the receiver is trying to get back toward the ball. A good, solid defensive pass interference call. Look at the clock here, 31 seconds to go. Okay, we are 2nd and 10, the second quarter. We're going to get a play that's going to result in, it's a quarterback scramble. You're going to get a defensive injury that stops the clock. So defensive injury, just like an offensive injury that stops the clock, creates a 10-second runoff. Okay, well, it's obvious that the offense is not going to want the 10-second runoff, so the offense has the ability to decline the 10 seconds, which they did here. But remember, when you get inside of a minute and you get an injury, and the injury is the only reason that the clock stops, you get a first down, the clock stops in its own. That doesn't create a 10-second runoff, even though it's a temporary stop. if there's a foul on the play and the foul could stop the clock, it has to be the injury itself that stops the clock. And in this case, defensive injury, 10-second runoff. Offense chooses. Obviously, they still want the time off the clock, so they decline the 10 seconds. Tough play on the sideline, ruled incomplete on the field and reversed to a catch, and a good decision in replay to reverse it. He gets control and then gets a foot down, even though there is a bobble at one point. See the ball kind of slide in there, but he still got that left foot down. So I can see why it was called incomplete. If we go back to the original shot, I might say to the field judge, though, you might want to just give the incomplete signal here and then give that sweeping motion outside, because there you're thinking catch. Anybody that's watching the game is thinking that you've got to catch and out of bounds. So unless your mechanics are different, here in the Big 12, best to do incomplete, then the sweeping motion for the out-of-bounds catch. And I think mechanically that's a little bit more sound. And again, as I said, a good reversal in replay because the foot was down. Pylon play, Washington State, the Cougs. How about the Cougs being the highest-ranked Pac-12 team? Ruled out of bounds at the 1, goes from inbounds to out of bounds, reaches the ball back over the top or inside the pylon before he lands out of bounds. That is a touchdown. Tough plays, good position by the official, but the good job by replay to get involved. And of course, we all know that the goal line didn't extend because the runner did not touch it. If he'd have touched the pylon, then it would have extended, and that's why he has to get it back over or inside. Big scrum here. This is more than just a scrum. Watch what breaks out here, and you got to be careful, boy, as an official. I know we try to break things up, but watch what happens here. Something's going on. Something's going on, and you do have some players leaving the bench, from the Ohio State side, I think, and the Iowa State side. You got a full-blown Donnybrook here. Watch what happens coming up. Keep watching. 52, you saw them. They were throwing blows. 52 and 32 were throwing blows. So the end result of this thing is that 52 and 32 were called for fighting, and I think that's legit. They were throwing blows. That's a fight, and so they were actually disqualified from the game for fighting, which means that they were out for the rest of this game, and automatically they will be out for the first half of the next game. That is the fighting rule. Even if this happened in the first half, they would be out for the rest of the game and out for the first half of the next game. But what we did here, and we saw this in two separate situations, we gave blanket unsportsmanlike conduct calls to both teams, blanket. And we've heard about that. That means that every member of each team is called for unsportsmanlike conduct, even if they didn't participate, even if they didn't leave the team area. And really, in this case, Baylor's on defense, and Baylor's quarterback is likely sitting on the bench looking at plays or something like that. Well, everybody gets the unsportsmanlike, which is their first. So what happens? Here's a play later in the game. Quarterback is going to scramble. We're now in the fourth quarter. He is going to scramble. Does he get hit here as he starts to break down and slide? It looks like he did. Is it enough for a foul? Wouldn't seem to me. It's a late slide. So he goes over and mouths off to the referee, and the official says something he doesn't like and flag. So now, guess what? He's out. He's out. The starting quarterback is out, even though he may have participated, that had no participation in the skirmish that, that occurred earlier in the third quarter. So I really think that, to me, it's got to be both teams on the field if you're going to give a blanket. And I know that the NCAA says this is a good sign to put a warning out to everybody. But the ramifications of this can be pretty serious when you lose your quarterback, who, in all likelihood, never even left the bench and ends up getting kicked out of the game. So it is another one to me that I hope in the offseason they at least talk about and try to get maybe multiple participants. But to me, this is when this gets to be a little bit too egregious. So guess what? That's it. I'm done. Yep, they're all waving goodbye to me. Does that mean they're glad I'm going or they appreciate it? I'm not sure, but that's it. I would say to this, everybody that's watching in the broadcast booth, good luck. Dean and I are here if you have any question. And for each official that's watching this, we're happy that you do. And we hope you learned something from this, and we hope to continue to do this. And you still have 2 weeks. So finish strong. Every game is a big one from here on out, just like every game is. So bear down, finish strong. Good luck. Have a good holiday season, and we'll talk to you at some point.